Hello, it is now 7:06 p.m. and a warm welcome to each of you to this week's edition of Community Conversation. Here at Community Conversation, we take full advantage of remote technology to bring youth together with members of the community leaders, and peers from around the country, as you will see tonight. Now, this 1 hour forum deepens connections and it provides discussions on a range of topics, including social and emotional issues, race, and race and inequality, improving relations with law enforcement, post secondary education, and careers. Let me just say a big thanks to all of the adults, the parents, grandparents, educators, and responsible community members who are here with us every Friday night, just hanging out with us to share ideas and instill value in these young people. I hear from you in the streets, I get your texts, your emails, and we certainly value your feedback. Look, you're indeed making a contribution to your community, and for that, we just want to say thank you. As you know, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we just ended Hispanic Heritage Month yesterday. The observance runs from September 15th through October 15th. And just last week, we spoke about the Latino culture marked how the Latino culture marked the period with food, music, and festivals. Well, one of our viewers last week brought to our attention that there was an interesting connection between both months. DJ, do you by chance have any idea the connection between Hispanic Heritage Month and Breast Cancer Awareness Month?
They are both in October.
Hey, that's pretty close, pretty good. Miss McKenzie be so proud of you tonight. Well, Janiyah, what about you? Any idea?
Thank you.
Good job, DJ. Janiyah? Okay, she's not on. All right. Look, guys, after nearly losing his mother to breast cancer, this young Mexican man, a teenager, decided to invent something to help women detect the disease during its early stages. If you will, please direct your attention to the screen. And Neil has the story of Julian Rios Cantu, or Cantu.
After his mom had a double mastectomy when he was just 13, Julian Rios Cantu wanted to help other women combat breast cancer. The Mexican student, now 18, designed a bra that alerts wearers to possible early signs of cancer using sensors that map the surface of the breast and surrounding areas. Cantu and 3 friends created the Eva bra through his company, Hygia Technologies. 200 small tactile biosensors map the surface of each breast and monitor changes in texture, color, and temperature.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Miss W, for bringing that to our attention. You know, folks, we certainly rely on you to share tips with us from time to time. If you have an idea or a topic that you think would be a good choice for us to address, please drop us a line or give us a call, and we would be grateful to fully appreciate and be thankful for that. So, DJ, how was your week? DJ?
My week was great, thank you.
My week was great too.
That sounds like Tristan. What was so great about your week, Tristan?
This is me, right here, Mr. C1.
Yeah, I see you. So what was so great about your week?
My week Mommy just wiped my flag about when we was doing our plants. Then Mommy wiped my flag. Tristan Basil plant.
Oh, basil plant. Okay, okay. And before I get back to you, Mr. Tristan, DJ, what was so good about your week?
My week was great because we had to take two very big tests, and I
Mhm.
passed both.
Okay,
A
very good.
90% on my reading and an 88% on my math.
Very good. Very impressive. See, we got Miss Brown down at the bottom now. Miss Brown, how are you? Nia Brown, guys, in the house. Nia, how are you? Is that Nia or Nigel? Nia. Okay, open her microphone. Okay, Nigel. Is that Nigel? All right. Well, she decided to hide on us today. Okay. What about let's say Neil? How was your week? No one's hearing me today. Neil, there he is. Neil, how was your week? Neil? Okay. 2 for 2. Nigel, James, how was your week?
All right, so my week went bad.
Well, there goes the senator herself.
You want to know why it went bad?
What was it bad? Please don't tell me
I
you got a
had to
bad grade.
I had to do my 5th grade FSA because I didn't do it last year. And
You had to do your
all
what?
those questions I just didn't remember. My mind was moved on.
Your mind what? Your mind went
My
in the
mind moved
zone?
on.
Your mind was done.
Like, no.
What do you mean by
Like in
that?
6th grade, because in 6th grade, you have to learn so much things. And I already know everything about 6th grade, but after that, I just forgot everything about 5th grade. But I got
Okay,
some
but
answers right. I got a 3.
3 out of what? 10?
No. It go the max is 4 or 5.
So you got a 3 out of 4.
No, I don't know the max. Probably 4 or 5. I don't know.
Well, please find out. You should know your grading system, right? So hold up now. Don't you realize that what you learned in 1st grade, you're supposed to build on that when you go to 2nd grade, then to 3rd grade, then up to 5th grade? Isn't that how it works in school?
I don't know.
You don't know? All right, maybe Miss W can help us sometime. But anyway, getting back to you, Tristan, I learned that if you notice, guys, remember last week, we saw the pictures of DJ and Tristan measuring their seedling, and oh my God, Tristan, your plant is growing so fast. Dina, put that plant up for me, put that photo up, please. It's almost as tall as you. That was last week photo of you with your plant. And this week we have another one you just sent in sometime today, right? Let's see the next one, Dina, please. There it is. In 1 week, it grew that fast. So Tristan, what type of seeds did you plant?
I plant my sunflowers, then I was writing my journal.
You wrote in your journal, and is that a sunflower tree?
No, it just was growing so very tall because, see, look, I was holding my pencil and now I was looking at the plants.
What type of plant is that? Do you know?
I did my centimeters.
Oh, you measured it in centimeters. How many centimeters is that?
That's I don't know.
Okay. Did you
My journal.
okay, so it's in your journal. Okay. What else did you plant?
It was.
Go sit in front of the camera so they can see.
Well, tell you what, Tristan, you figure that out and we'll get back to you later in the show. How about that?
Yes, Mr. C1.
Okay, I want you to tell me what you observed so far this week. Okay, tell me what you observed this week and what did you have to do to put in your journal? What did you put in your journal this week about the plants? Okay, we'll talk more about it later in the show. Just remind me, okay? How about that?
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right, following the nationwide protests calling for an end to racial injustice and inequality, schools everywhere are being called upon to improve and expand education on Black history and current racial issues in the United States. Now, this coming Tuesday, October 20th, the Men of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity, South Palm Beach County chapter will host a Know Your Rights workshop. The goal of the program is to educate young adults on their constitutional rights and how to handle encounters with law enforcement. Now, that workshop will be from 6 to 8 p.m. on Zoom. Dina, can you get that up, please? And Facebook. The Zoom address is on your screen, and the Facebook address is facebook.spb.alphas.12. As usual, if you miss it, a copy of the session will be on the pages of the Boca Raton Tribune as well as KOP Mentoring Network. Let me just pause and welcome our friends who are joining us either on KOP Mentoring Network's or Boca Raton Tribune's Facebook pages. I have been receiving your comments and thank you very much for your feedback and your support. As you listen, though, will you please do us a huge favor and share community conversation with your social media pages and share with your friends. That is, folks, the greatest compliment that you can give us this week. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And now a word from our Neil.
You mentioned that November, it might be the
No,
biggest.
that's not it, Neil. Shamars. We get back to that. Let's get back to Shamars shortly. Thousands of people, some braving long hours, wait. Thousands of people, some braving long hours, long waits, glitches, and politically motivated obstruction are flocking to cast early ballots and writing the story of a pandemic era election that may change how American votes. We see a record of 17 million Americans have already voted in the general election, according to an analysis of voting information. And in key swing states, such as Florida, more than 2 million voters have already cast their ballots. I know some of you guys will be out with Mr. John tomorrow to encourage folks to exercise their civic duty. As I learned this week, there are a lot of hosts, so many newsmakers, celebrities, and even some community leaders who will be voting this year for the very first time. Tell us more, Mr. John, about your efforts to get folks out to vote. What do you have for us this week, brother?
All right. Before we hop into that, did want to, Brother C-Ron mentioned about an event this weekend. The Brothers of Alpha Phi Alpha, OUL, Omicron Psi Lambda chapter hopefully we get some of the undergraduate brothers from FAU out there as well. We will be at Pompey Park tomorrow from 10 a.m. to noon in Delray Beach. So Pompey Park and Delray Beach tomorrow. And our goal will be to encourage people to vote. We plan to be all in and around the community for those couple of hours. Signs, just going, talking to the constituents and the public that are there, and just encouraging people, get everybody excited. As you guys know, early voting starts here on Monday. And so this is kind of the lead up to early voting, and then hopefully we can keep that momentum through these next couple of weeks, and then of course on election day on November 3rd. Neil, can you please pop the video? We almost gave it away, but could you please jump into the video now?
You mentioned that November, it might be the biggest election of our lifetime, November 3rd. And you talked about voting. LeBron James and a lot of athletes, Serena Williams, Naomi Osaka, Patrick Mahomes, more than a vote. You said that you're going to vote for the very first time in your career, in your life. Talk to us about the vote. Tell us what this vote, what this election means to you, and what it's going to mean to our community moving forward.
Well, first of all, I was always told that because I had a felony or criminal record that I couldn't vote. And then once I did a little research, I found out that that's not the case. You can vote. No matter what your criminal status is, you can vote. You have the right. So I want to say to all of the brothers that's watching right now with a criminal record that think that they can't vote, you can't vote. Get your research on and figure it out and find out how you can, because it does matter. So when I found out that I could, I was watching everything that was going on, and I was like, my voice is key, but my actions is more important. So I could always say, I want you to vote. You should. But until I do it, it ain't official. So I wanted to step into the realm and do it. So that way, when I'm speaking on it, I'm not asking you to do something that I didn't do.
You started something, hashtag Vote with Snoop Drive. Tell the people what that's about.
That's going to be actual footage of me registering to vote, with me going to vote, and to show you the process of how it could be done, and how, they always try to put hurdles in front of us to make it seem like it's difficult or it's strategically hard to do, but it's really not that hard to do. Anybody can do it. Old folks do it, teenagers do it. No matter what age you are, you can do it. You just got to know how to do it. And I'm going to show you how to do it. I'll bring it all to you via video so you can see it and see the, tutorial on how to get it done.
You mentioned about putting people in position, because that's what they did. What did they do? They got candidates. That's how President Trump got in. That's someone that was going to further their agenda. If you look at the sheriff, if you look at the attorney generals, if you look at the DAs, if you look at the police commissioner, if you look at what they do, they get people that's with their agenda, and they raise money and they put them in office. That's what we need to do. We need to get people. Okay, no more cash bonds. All that bullshit. No. We're not going to do that. We're going to get people that's for our agenda, that can further our causes. And if you're not on board, we're not voting for you. It's as simple as that. We can find people, Snoop. There are people out there that want our cause. And I'm not going to just vote for you because you're black. If you're black and you're not trying to help us, if you're not trying to further our agenda, get out my face. Because all skin folk ain't kin folk. So that's how I'm looking at it. If there's a white man that can help advance my people's agenda, that's who's going to get my vote.
I feel like Ice Cube had a great plan and a great situation called a contract with Black America.
Yes.
He's presenting to the candidate that's running for president against Donald Trump. And to me, I feel him, because you got to earn my vote. Like, you don't just get it just to get it. What do I get for me giving you my vote? And that's how the position play is, because whoever's elected has to cut some sort of deal with somebody to get the position to get people to vote for them. Because in turn, they're going to get something out of it. When you put me in office, I'm going to take care of your community and make sure this and that and get all of the black people over here. And I'm going to make sure the churches is right and this is right. That's the old game. The new game is now for that vote. We need reparations. We need to be able to open black businesses. We need to be able to get loans. We need to be able to have certain things that we don't have. We need to abolish them police laws and legislations and all them systems that's broken with the racism. We need all that for starters. And once you get in your first 6 months, then we're going to need a new contract to renegotiate like an athlete that didn't put up 100 points. Like, because that's what y'all owe us. And if it's not that, then you don't get to vote, period.
You know what to do. Hit the subscribe button to become an official member of Club Shay Shay, where we always do something for two something.
All right, so we're at a place now where, you know, we've already done the registration. So voter registration ended on ending in October already, and so now it's about, okay, we're registered to vote. Now we need to actually get bodies to the polls, and so just keep in mind early voting starts. Wanted to go over some dates really quick with you guys. So of course, early voting starts October 19th at a lot of places in the state, and it will go until November 1st. Even if you have a mail-in ballot, it is okay for you to go and drop it off at one of the early polling locations. Then of course, November 3rd is the big day. And so that's voting day. And so now that we're past getting people registered to vote, now the effort should be getting people to the actual polls. C-Ron, you're on mute.
Okay, Dina, why didn't you unmute me? See, blame your producer for that every time. Every time it happens, blame your producer. The debate is on next Thursday. DJ just reminded us of that. But look, guys, John, now the people are going to the polls. In fact, next they'll start voting early. We need to make them aware of some of the shenanigans they normally play. Speaking of voter suppression, what is voter suppression? DJ asked the question, what was voter suppression? You have some information on that?
I do. Neil, could you play the second clip that talks about voter suppression?
The protest over police brutality against Black people is helping to inspire a new wave of Black civic engagement. One of the best ways to create change at all levels of society and have your voice heard is by voting. U.S. civil rights leaders of the past knew this and fought for decades to ensure Black people had the equal right to vote. But even now, there are still barriers for Black people who want to vote. After the Civil War, the U.S. passed amendments that constitutionally guaranteed the right for Black men to participate and vote in elections. But Jim Crow laws, state and local laws that enforced racial segregation, were soon enacted across Southern states to disenfranchise Black voters. Black voters face steep poll taxes, esoteric literacy tests, and voter purges. These measures effectively crushed the Black vote. For instance, in a span of 8 years beginning in 1896, the number of registered Black voters in Louisiana fell from 130,334 to just 1,342. It took decades to fight these oppressive measures, culminating in the Voting Rights Act of 1965, a law that prohibited racial discrimination in voting. However, new forms of voter suppression have replaced Jim Crow laws in some states. Gerrymandering, a political practice in which the boundaries of congressional districts are modified in highly partisan ways, has diluted voting power for people of color. Strict voting registration guidelines also make it difficult for people to sign up to vote. In 2013, a Supreme Court decision struck down a section of the Voting Rights Act, allowing states to enact discriminatory voter ID laws and voter purges. In Georgia, hundreds of polling stations in predominantly Black and brown communities were closed ahead of the 2018 election, following a massive voter purge. While in Texas, new voter ID laws have made it more difficult for people of color and college students to vote. This year, the COVID-19 pandemic is increasing the risk of Black voter suppression. While states are working to make alternative forms of voting easier, misinformation about voting fraud, specifically tied to voting by mail, has raised concerns about a fair election. Voting by mail is safe, reliable, and has been a primary option for millions of Americans for years. Overall, out of 250 million votes cast in the U.S. over the past 20 years, there were fewer than 150 cases of voter fraud tied to mail-in voting. Making sure Black voters know the facts and their rights is the key to ending voter suppression. Double check your voter registration status by heading over to justvote.globalcitizen.org. Then make a plan to vote ahead of time, whether by mail, absentee ballot, or safely in person. Then spread the word. Urge your family and friends to make sure they are ready to vote as well. Voting is one of the most powerful rights we have as citizens, a right that people have literally fought and died for. So don't let misinformation and other forms of voter suppression prevent your voice from being heard.
Very good stuff. Very good stuff.
Absolutely. And so at this point, you should definitely already have your plan and how you're going to vote. And again, I'll be back on next Friday, and we're going to find new and inventive ways. And hopefully we're all excited and energized and ready to vote this week. So thank you guys.
You know, John, young people, listen, it's so important that we take the time to tell you about this on Community Conversation, because you won't get this in Sunday school for sure. And by your own admission, you have not to date learned this in school. So that's why Mr. John takes the time to make sure you learn about this. Okay, speaking of learning, you've been hearing about registering for the census for months now. Well, the deadline for registering has been extended to October 31st. So if you haven't yet completed the census, please do so now. Young people, that means tell your parents. Money for every person who registered. The city will get roughly $2,000 for the next 10 years, over the next 10 years. Do the math. And that money will be used to improve your parks, your roads, and even your sidewalk. Friends and family, please join me in welcoming the ladies of Xi Phi Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, who have joined the family and will be serving as mentors to our youth on Community Conversation. They will help guide our conversations and select appropriate guests to help prepare our youth for life in this global society. Let me just add, folks, that you see me here on a Friday evening sitting and leading this discussion, if you will. There's a lot of work that goes in to make this happen. A lot of people behind the scene that work on putting this together. I just so happen to be the handsome young man who sits here on Friday evening to do this, but they're the ones who really make this happen. Again, thank you to the ladies of AKA, and in particular, Miss Alexandria Anderson, who is joining us tonight. Miss Anderson, thank you for being with us. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm well, thank you.
Good, good. In a nutshell, tell us what the Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority is. Tell us a little about your organization.
Okay, so Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated is the first African American sorority founded for and by Black women in 1908 at Howard University. We are about 300,000 strong at this particular point. We are currently obviously in Florida, so we're a part of the largest region for my organization. And we have actually expanded into international territory as well. So there have been a lot of different things that have happened in the organization, and we continue to grow and strive to serve the community. I noticed that we had a presentation on voting, and that's something that is very near and dear to our heart as well. When our organization was founded way back when in 1908, over 100 years ago, there was a movement called the suffragette movement, which was for women's voting rights. So voting is very, very important to all of us, men, women, and children of color. And that's just one of the different things that we look to encourage our youth and our community at large. Education is very important to us as well. Our elderly. So there's so many different aspects and topics that we deal with. So it is definitely an honor and privilege to be here tonight with you.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Folks, my producer just whispered in my ear that the Supreme Court of the United States overruled the census date deadline. So I stand corrected. That ended yesterday. So the date I gave you was wrong. The Supreme Court overruled the census and the count ended yesterday. Now it's time for a shout out. Our shout out this week goes to our very own James Lee Joseph, who also is this week's shining star. Please direct your attention to the screen as Neil tells you more about James Lee.
James Lee is a 6th grader at Lantana Middle School, and as he was in elementary school, he continues to be in shining star. He received his progress report recently, and we're all proud of him. 6 A's and 1 B. Not only does James Lee excel in class, he also excels in his community. Most recently, he installed computers at a local child care learning lab. It should also be noted that James Lee earned an A in his recent computer class. Finally, James Lee devotes at least 1 day each month at a local horse ranch where he feeds the horses and cares for the other animals. Congratulations, James Lee. We're proud of you.
And we're very proud of you, James Lee. And Anushka, Madam President, you did an awesome job on that commercial. Great job. Wow. This segment is brought to you by the generous donation of Ezra Krieg, Ms. Marcia Eisenberg, and Mr. Doug Young. Thanks to our sponsors, we're able to bring you community conversation each week. As you interact with your friends and neighbors, folks, please tell them to like some of our sponsors who, such as Healthier Delray Beach and Roots and Wings, and any other sponsors who are on Facebook, and thank them as well for caring about our youth. Neil, take it away.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Healthier Delray Beach. The Healthier Delray Beach initiative strives to serve as a trusted advocate for the behavioral health needs for Delray Beach community by creating awareness, encouraging acceptance and equality, and developing a system of care. Healthier Delray Beach is located at 555 Northwest 4th St. Delray Beach. Learn more about Healthier Delray Beach at www.hdb.org or call 561-703-8691.
Thank you, Shamari. That's the voice of Mr. Shamari Caesar. Now, tonight's program, folks, is produced by Ms. Joeldina Bazoo, a graduating senior at Atlantic Community High School, as well as the Milagro Center. LaDanian Day Thomas, who also attends Milagro Center and Village Academy, as well as Darryl Creary, a graduating senior at Atlantic Community High School, are serving as our production interns. Our illustrious cinematographer is Neil Sunsky, Noel Neal Noel, who's the man behind all these videos you've been seeing, and he's a proud product of KOP Mentor Network as well as Village Academy. Mr. 3Cs, I call him the cool, calm, and collective one. Mr. Mario Rodriguez is our resident production manager, and he is with Boca Raton Tribune TV. Young people, parents, there's so many initiatives, so many around the city to help bring this community together. Especially during these times, one program we have been telling you about over the last couple of weeks is through the city of Delray Beach. Tell you more about this program tonight is Captain David Weatherspoon, the Director of Neighborhood Resources Division. Mr. Captain, thank you for joining us, sir. You have been on a quest to help residents during this pandemic. If you will, tell us more, and how does this program work? Go ahead, unmute him, please.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Thank you very much there, Mr. Sheeran. Before I begin, I'd like to thank you for inviting me here and having me, allowing me this opportunity to present this information, but also just to thank you for all the things you do for our community. You do so many things to help so many people and to make so many aware of things. So I wanted to say thank you very much for all that you do and for all that you continue to do for our community. As it relates to the
Thank you, Captain. Captain, I'm getting folks. Captain. Folks on Facebook say they cannot see your face. So, can you open your camera if possible?
Okay, I have it on.
Good night.
Mr. Sheeran,
Yes, sir.
one question. What is the Facebook name that you're live streaming on?
What Facebook are we live streaming on?
Like what?
That was in the chat. That was in the chat earlier. Boca Raton Tribune or KOP Mentoring Network. Go back to the chat and you'll see it in the chat, James Lee. Okay? Or call Janiyah. She'll tell you. Go ahead, Captain.
All right, can you see me now? I have my camera on. I'm not sure.
I can't. Not sure. I haven't heard from them yet. But continue. Go ahead.
Okay, great. What we have is the coronavirus relief funds, and these funds are available to help residents of City of assist with rental payment, mortgage payment, rental assistance. We're here to assist with water bills, LP&L bill, any bill that people may have as a result of experiencing a loss of revenue due to the coronavirus. Staff is here to assist. So we're here at the City of Delray Beach. We received approximately $380,000 from the state, and these funds have to be spent by December 31st. So our staff has been hard at work reaching out to the community so that we can get this money spent. The money was not sent over to Delray till the end of September, and they gave us a deadline of December 31st. Nevertheless, we are working very diligently to ensure that all of this money is spent. I don't want $1 to go back to the state. I want to help our community. Again, it's for residents. You have to reside in the City of Delray Beach. However, there are other funds available with county and other cities. If you have any questions, you can contact our department. Neighborhood Services is ran by Ferline Mesendorf. She can be contacted at 561 area code 243-7038. Again, 561 area code 243-7038. Tomorrow, we're going to be out in the community. This is our second blitz that we're doing. We're going to be at the NRC Neighborhood Resource Center, and that location is 141 Southwest 12th Avenue. Again, 141 Southwest 12th Avenue. And we will be there from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And we're collecting applications. We have staff on hand to assist people complete the application. Once the applications are completed and they're approved, we're paying those bills directly off for our residents. And one of the things I want to add, Sheeran, that I'm so proud of, Delray, we saw a need and we needed assistance to help us process. And we've been having community people just step up and been coming to the table, working alongside of our staff. And that's one of the things I love about Delray. People come together, they understand there's a deadline, and they understand that there is a desperate need to spend this money. And some of the people that have been involved have been Ms. Yvonne Odoms, Ms. Cynthia Ridley, Mrs. Carol Howard, and also Mrs. Sandra Weatherspoon. See, Ron, when I tell you, these ladies have been coming to City Hall on Tuesdays and Thursdays, volunteering 6 and 7 hours of their time, assisting residents alongside with our staff, complete these applications, and we're paying these bills immediately. In addition to that, these residents have been coming along on Saturdays, assisting residents alongside our staff so that we can get this money spent in Delray. So please, any listeners, if you need assistance, if you know someone needs assistance, please refer them to us. We're here to help. And again, if you have emergency repairs that we can show that there was a need as a result of the coronavirus, roofing, air conditioning, these things are considered emergency repair. We're able to assist and repair these items. All we're asking that you do is come, apply for the information. And again, none of these funds require payback. They're paid directly and paid off. No obligation from the citizen, no payback, no liens, no anything. These are funds that have been dedicated to assist the citizens of Delray Beach pay bills as a result of this virus.
Thank you so much for that time and information, Captain. Truly appreciate that, especially for our unsung heroes that you just listed, all four ladies. Dina, go ahead and let's try to schedule them so we can have them on so these young people can see who are some of the movers and shakers in this community without titles. The movers and shakers without titles. That's going to be the title of that section. Anyway, the COVID-19 pandemic has...
Sandra Weatherspoon is a Soros Pi Omega chapter, so I can definitely...
Is she?
She is.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you. You and Dina work on making that happen. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. The COVID-19 pandemic, I'm not surprised. She's a lady of Alpha Kappa Alpha. The COVID-19 pandemic has caused significant destruction in the lives of millions of people, including children and adolescents. You know, out-of-school programs for youth are essential ecological assets, and their disruption during this pandemic, I dare say, may have a major impact on youth developmental pathways. Youth programs are one of the primary ways, one of the most important ways to promote positive youth development. You've heard me say that time and time again. And in turn, develop healthy and thriving young adults who contribute positively to our society. Folks, as the world grapples with unprecedented challenges posed by this pandemic, you will hear tonight that young people are demonstrating their continued leadership in their communities. Our very first guest tonight is my brother from another mother, Mr. Ike Powell from the Palm Beach County Youth Services. Brother Powell, how are you, sir?
I'm great. Thank you, Brother C-Rock.
Tell us about your youth council. You've been bragging about your future leaders united for change. Tell us about this.
Okay, so first off, two things, real. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to the community this evening. We don't take that lightly. And also, I want to do a shout out and congratulations to James Lee. That's phenomenal. That's simply phenomenal. James Lee, and to all the young people on here, keep that up. We need you. We really need you all to be young leaders in the community. And that's what this is about. I'm with Palm Beach County Youth Services Department. So what is that? We get all our funding through the Board of County Commissioners. And I know that Senator Sachs can appreciate this tonight. She's very familiar with that. And so basically, we are working closely with a plethora of community-based agencies to provide services to our young people, mostly the young people in middle school and high school through what we call community-based agencies. So what does that look like? That looks like after-school programs, that looks like summer scholarships to camps, that looks like summer feeding sites. And more importantly, that looks like opportunities for young people like you all on here to develop your leadership skills and become what we call civically engaged. Your voice matters, and we need to hear from you. So one of the initiatives that we have is called Future Leaders United for Change. These are the young people in Palm Beach County. They serve as the voice, and they get to speak to adults. They get to speak to the major funders. They get to share what they feel are the needs that they have to become successful. And the adults are listening to that. So I would encourage you to look into Future Leaders United for Change. You can go to our website, pbcgov.com/youth services. They have a monthly meeting. And one of the exciting things they've been doing since COVID-19 is they have implemented what's called a podcast. And that podcast gives them the opportunity to speak up about what some of the challenges they are facing, and at the same time, grow their development, their leadership skills. I want to talk to you.
Is there... Go ahead, continue.
They've been engaged in civic engagement. So you heard C-Ron, Mr. Allen talking about census. You've heard my brother John Stevenson talking about the importance of voting. So they use their voice to encourage other young people that are able to vote. So I would encourage you to get involved with Future Leaders United for Change.
Is there an age requirement or dues, or how do we get involved if we're interested?
It's ages 11 through 22. Thanks for that question. And
Okay,
there's
you
some
bet.
folks on here that may already be involved. So some of the agencies we work for, I see representatives on here, AVDA, Milagro Center, and they have young people that are involved in Future Leaders United for Change.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, Brother Powell. Stand by. I know we have some more questions. Stand by, please. You know, folks, in the early 1980s, I think it was probably about 1984, so a group of Palm Beach County residents formed a coalition to create a shelter for victims of domestic abuse. Since then, when most people hear the term AVDA, they think of victims of domestic abuse, and most time, women. Now, as our next guest, Marcos Fleury, will tell you, AVDA has grown to meet the need for shelter, to support, serve, and now they're educating survivors and their children. And they've evolved to include outreach services and violence prevention programming. Before we hear from Marcos, though, and Melanie, or rather Marcos, Melanie's not here, let us focus our attention to the screen for some testimonials. Go ahead, Neil.
Hey Josh, what are you committed to?
I'm committed to changing stats around violence against women and girls.
This what God gave you, that's what you're given. Just take your time to be committed.
I know that violence is aggressive does not equal strength. Committed men are responsible for their actions.
And take a minute. That's what God gave you, that's what you're given. Just take your time to be committed, and everyone around you gonna be patient.
Commitment, no privacy in relationship is healthy. I would not use technology to harass or control my partners.
It takes wasted time for you to shine and tell everyone you're either in or you're out. If you ain't showing love, them keep them comments in your mind.
Commitment is a choice and an act. I am committed to ending violence against women.
Don't try to doubt it. Sometimes I eat my faith food.
What are you committed to?
Just take your time to be committed, and everyone around you gonna be patient till you finish.
I think you're on mute, Ciron.
There we go again, Dina. Marcos, tell me about this initiative, brother.
Hi, my name is Marcos. I'm one of the educators with AVDA, one of the domestic violence in Palm Beach County. So our program that we do is a lot of educating youth and teens around the community, ending community violence, and also ending teenage violence, and also ending violence against women. So from the video which you just saw is one of our mentoring programs that we work with the youth from 505 Teen Center in Delray. So working with young men and boys, recognizing abusive behaviors they might have learned or picked up through media, through different cultures, different backgrounds, and being leaders of change and being upstanders in the community. One of the programs we offer is a MOST Club, which is educating young men and boys throughout all over Palm Beach County, ending violence against women through learning what we call dominant story masculinity and teaching them the counter story masculinity, right? Not having to be strong, not having to think that being tough or being powerful or being the tough guy in the room is always the right thing to be. But also, it's good to be calm and kind and compassionate as well.
So, Marcos, you operate at 505 Teen Center and some of the local high schools. Am I correct?
Yeah, we work in the 505 Teen Center, Milagro Teen Center, Youth Empowerment Center, Atlantic High School, Boynton Beach High School, Spanish River, all over the community.
What about Village Academy? Any plans to join us sometime?
Yeah, we just started working at Village Academy just a couple weeks ago. We're gonna implement the program sometime maybe in the spring semester because there's a lot going on right now as far as like teachers getting familiar with online learning. but soon in the near future, we're going to be working at Village Academy.
And why was there such a need to create this program in the first place?
So we know that statistically, a lot of violence is committed towards women is committed by men. So we needed to get engaged men, boys, and any violence against women. So that includes, our teenage boys, right? Because we have a high rate of teenage violence, which is basically the same dynamics as domestic violence we see in adult relationships, we see in the teen relationships.
Okay. Well, stand by, Marcos. I'm sure we have some questions coming your way shortly. She's known as the Corvette driving senator who represented the people of southwestern Palm Beach County as a Democratic member of the Florida House and Senate. Now, Miss Maria Sachs wants to represent them as members of the Palm Beach County Commission District 5. In a few weeks, actually, on November 3rd, she's hoping to go ahead and mute your phone, Commissioner. Marcos, mute your microphone. So the district, by the way, runs west of the Florida's Turnpike from the Broward County line to the Boynton Beach Boulevard. Thank you. And it's the only district that includes no municipalities, includes more important, almost all of the Palm Beach County, what we call agricultural reserve, meaning, young people, the place out west where our fruit and vegetable comes from. I'll tell you more about it later on. You've been a commissioner. So what am I doing? Mayor, senator, governor, representative. Thank you for joining us today. You don't know how happy I am to have the Maria Sachs on my show. How have you been? You've been out of office now 4 years. What have you been up to?
Well, can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
That's great. First, thank you, C-Ron. Thank you not just for putting me on, but thank you for all you've done in the community. I mean, you and I met each other maybe like 10 years ago, and you've done so much. You're such a mentor, such a star for all of us, not just in Delray, but throughout Palm Beach County. And I want to thank you really from the bottom of my heart for all you do. You continue to inspire me and motivate me, even on a Friday night at, my gosh, almost 8 o'clock, but you still inspire us all. So let me tell you what's happening.
Thank you. Hold up now. Dina, make sure this is recorded now, because I'm going to use this when she get in office. Continue now.
Right.
I'm gonna remember that when you become our commissioner.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope you got everything I said about you now, C-Ron. You know what I mean? Because we've talked about that.
Thank you for those kind words.
This is really what's happening. When you listen to the youth of today, you're going to find out what happens tomorrow. And I need to hear those voices. So I don't care if someone is in my district, if they live in District 5, if they live west of I-95, west of I don't care. If you're a part of this group, wherever you live, I need to hear your voice, because after this pandemic is done, we've got to rewrite the whole economy. We've got a lot of people who have been using tech at home, including myself. I may not want to go back to work. I may just want to stay at the house and do my work on Zoom calls and go to meetings. And it's going to completely revolutionize what our economy is all about, what our culture is about, right? So it's all about the kids. Let me tell you something. If I didn't have my kids at home today, it would be very difficult for me to figure out all the technology. So I got to listen to the kids. So I want you to help me put together a group, and anybody who wants to be part of this group, to help us write what Palm Beach County is going to look like in 2021, because it's not going to be like 2019. 2020 has shown us, it's given a vision, 2020 vision, given us vision of what our future is going to look like. I don't want it to look like the past. We've got to stop building big roads. We got to start building more community involvement, more being able to walk to the store, walk to our community center. We need more community centers. We don't need to have to get in our car and drive everywhere. Those further, it's climate change. We can't continue to use these big gas guzzling cars, except for Corvettes. Corvettes will always, the American sports car, this Corvette will always be able to get a pass. But in the meantime, seriously, I want to hear how we're going to remake our economy here, how we remake our community. And I need the vision, the 2020 vision of the young people today. So I've got to listen to you. Talk to C. Ron. You want to get involved. Anyways, you know how to contact me. I'm on Facebook, I'm website, all that. You know my name.
I got you.
But I need an advisory group to help write the plan for 2021.
You got my vote on that one. Listen, let me just say this. No, we're almost out of time, and I'm getting your calls and texts from Facebook. I hear what you guys are saying. They want to hear more. They have more questions. Mario, if I can, may I have until 8:10, please? About 8 more minutes. I know we have 3 minutes on the clock, but about 8 more minutes. You have had a very impressive career in Tallahassee, both in the House and Senate. Why are you running for the seat on the county commission? And let me just preface that by saying this. I must commend you during your time in Tallahassee. You've always represented the small guy several times. You relentlessly championed the texting while driving bill, which is now a law. You expanded the state's Good Samaritan law, which has benefited us certainly. And young people, the Good Samaritan law gives liability protection, if you will, to those people who want to help folks in life-threatening situations. Mr. John will tell you more about that in a session. And shortly after you got to Tallahassee, I remember that about 10, 12 years ago, you fought for us to get funding through the Siebers grant, which the governor cut that year.
Right.
Why the heck would you want to be our next commissioner of District 5?
All right, this is it. Every morning that anybody gets up, you get up in the morning, you think about what you're going to do that day. Whatever it is you really want to do, that's what you should do in your life. When I get up in the morning, I want to be in a position where I can help people. I want to be in a position that when I call an agency, that they take my call. And in order to do that, I got to be in office. Otherwise, they don't know who I am. I'm just another lady, just another woman who's, got a problem. I want to have that authority and that power in that office. So they take my call. So this is a lesson to everybody. When you get up in the morning, what that is that you want to do for that day that's fun, that you enjoy, that you got passion, that's what you got to do. What I like to do, I like to get up in the morning, I like to go to work, and I like to be able to be in a position where I help people. And that's why I'm running for county commission. And you know what? I'm bringing it home here to my home. This is where I live, Palm Beach County. I want to bring all those connections and all that authority that I learned from in Tallahassee. I want to bring it home here to help the people in my community. Because if I'm not doing it, what am I doing?
As I look, we have over 600 people listening right now. You have, and they're from all over. We have folks from South Carolina, Charlotte. By the way, guys, if you're listening from out of state of Palm Beach County, go ahead and chime in, put in the chat where your city is. But Commissioner, you always have an audience on this show. Whenever you want, just let me know, send me a text. You always have an audience. All right?
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Everybody stay
Thank
safe.
you. Folks, Mr.
Vote.
Oh, no, I sure will. Thank you. Thank you. Folks, Miss Andrea Bruton wears many hats around the community, and these days she has donned a new and important one. That's as an officer with the local chapter of the NAACP, and she is trying to revive that organization. Ms. Bruton, thanks for being with us this evening. Ms. Bruton, there she is. Open her microphone, please.
All right.
Okay, go ahead.
I appreciate that.
Thank you. Now, the NAACP is considering chartering a youth component here in the South Palm Beach County area. Where are you in the process?
Okay, Siron, before I answer that, let me just thank you all for allowing me to be a part of this great panel. This is amazing. Siron, I want to thank you for all you do and all that you have done in this community for our children, me and my grandchildren and my children. To get to answering the question regarding the NAACP, it's composed of the youth units, college chapters, and adult branches. The three pillars allow for the civic engagement and strategic activities needful to organize the communities of color to fulfill the ACP's mission. So as it relates to chartering of the Youth Council, there must be an adult branch for the Youth Council to exist. Although the Youth Councils are autonomous, they're not standalone entities. So we're in the process of reacting the South Palm Beach County chapter, and upon completion of this process, we will be positioned.
Take your time, Lucy.
Okay, we will be positioned to apply for the youth chapter. We expect the approval for reactivation at tomorrow's board meeting.
Okay, that's all right. That's all right. Now, okay, so we should know by, say, Monday if this is a go, right?
Well, we're already told that we've qualified. We've met all the requirements to reactivate the chapter. We're just waiting on the approval.
Okay, what are some of the youth initiatives that we can expect on your agenda this year?
Siron, we're planning on youth violence prevention, dealing with civil rights from the perspective of a teenager, the rising cost of college education, and the 411 on the 5.0 of how to interact with police in 2020 and beyond.
Super, all important issues. Let me just say this, Miss Bruton. We believe, unlike a lot of people around here, a lot of organizations, we believe in collaborations. We cannot do it on our own. We strongly believe in partnerships. You have a partner with us, and whatever we can do to make sure your program is carried out and is done, you can call on us. We'd be more than happy to help you anytime, okay?
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for having me here this evening.
You're quite welcome. Stand by. Folks, the National Urban League is the nation's oldest and largest African-American organization, and we're grateful that we have one here, a local affiliate here in Palm Beach County. You know, over the years, the Urban League has been providing countless free programs. The last count I recall was probably about 35 free programs that it provides to members of our community. KOP Mentor Network is fortunate and has been fortunate to partner with the Urban League on several initiatives, and our students in the southern part of the county have benefited tremendously over the years. We have with us Miss Shawn Bynum Coleman. Miss Coleman, how are you? Miss Coleman? Well, I guess Miss Coleman is she here? Is she here? Okay, Miss Coleman is not here with us. Well, we'll try to get the Urban League back on another evening with us. Tristan, let's look. We're out of time, buddy. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about your plant next week. Okay? So come back next week. Be prepared to answer those questions, and we'll be sure to give you your time. Folks, that will about do it for this week's edition of Community Conversation. I hope you learned something tonight that will make a significant impact on your life. Young people, as I've always said, there's no greater investment you can make on a Friday night than just hanging out with like-minded peeps on Community Conversation. I used to tell you that the best is yet to come. Well, it gets better every week. I'm not going to tell you who's coming next week. Show up, and folks, I have an impressive lineup of people over the next 4 weeks. Show up next week, and I promise you, you're going to love it. Again, tonight's show was produced by Dina Bazoo, LaDanian Dede Thomas, Neil. Thanks to the Boca Raton Tribune for their support and for simulcasting the show tonight. Thank you again to our sponsors, Healthier Delray Beach, Blanc New Look Barbershop, Wellness Financial, and Mr. Doug Young, Mr. Ezra Krieg, and others. Look, folks, as we wrap up tonight's session, we leave you with this message.
They're going to use the media to shame the audience, to guilt the audience, to embarrass anyone out there who is against wearing a mask or against believing in this, right? Look at this absolute garbage propaganda pushed by CNN.
A mask can say a lot about the person who wears it. But even more about the person who doesn't.
The message you heard at the beginning of that tape, that's what some people think of a mask. Okay, on that note, all I have to say is wear your mask, and until next time, from all of us here, good night.